Hi, and welcome to my blog. So today I want to talk to you about the power of just listening. And I want to start with a question. If someone you cared about was going to approach you tomorrow to talk about something difficult that they're going through, how well would you be able to respond to that? Often, it's not a lack of care that makes those situations difficult. It's a lack of knowledge. We just don't know what to do for the best. And in those situations, it's not up to the other person to educate us. They're going to be in a very vulnerable state, possibly even in a crisis. So it's up to us to educate ourselves. And this blog is going to help you to do just that. I'm going to go through the things to do, the things not to do, but I'm also going to talk about why, as human beings, we seem to find this so difficult. So before we get into that, I want to say a bit about why I'm talking about this now. Because in this current time, there's a lot more people prepared to come forward and talk about their difficult experiences. So that could be anything. That could be experiences they've had of racism or sexism, or other kinds of discrimination. It could be situations to do with their mental health, with their physical health, or how disabilities affect them. Or it could be, as we're seeing a lot of at the moment, people coming forward and talking about experiences of trauma and abuse in the past. So all of this stuff is out there. People are not so willing anymore just to ignore it or pretend it hasn't happened, because we know now that it has major negative effects on people. And yes, there is a backlash on social media, on the same platforms that people are sharing these stories. They're getting a lot of negative criticism for doing that. And I don't want to get into that now, because what I want to focus on instead is making this personal for you, showing you how that you can be better in personal relationships that you have. So if someone you care about is going through something difficult, you'll be able to give them the best response for them. So we'll get on to now looking at those things that to do, the things not to do, and most importantly, why listening is so powerful. Number one, get used to discomfort. So as human beings, we tend towards comfort in all things. And I'm not just talking about physical comfort. We tend towards emotional and psychological comfort too, i.e. wanting to feel those good, happy, reassuring feelings and really wanting to avoid anything difficult or dark. And this is no different with the people we care about. We want our people in our lives to be happy and fulfilled and satisfied. But actually, that's not always the case. And the best way to help a person who's going through something like that is not to ignore their distress. To ignore it doesn't make it go away. But what does help is if that person can feel heard. So when a person is talking to you about something difficult, all you need to do is listen. And I say all you need to do, but actually that can be really hard for us, because by listening, we're going to be sharing and feeling some of that discomfort. So it's important to think about the ways that all of us have to avoid that discomfort. And we all have these ways, but they'll be different for everyone. So one person's way might be to change the subject. Another person's way might be to zone out and start playing with their phone, or, changing the channels on the TV. But whereas another person might kind of zoom in there and start offering solutions and ways to fix the problem. Now, all of these responses can be unhelpful, because you're shutting down a person before they've been able to talk about and express their situation. And if they're feeling concerned about it, if they're maybe judging themselves a little bit for it, for you to give that response will just feed into their own concerns about that. So it's so crucial that you're able to sit with their discomfort and just listen. So in all of that listening, it might be that you want to say something, and that's fine, but make sure it's something simple. Something like, yeah, that sounds really rough, can be sufficient. Number 2, accept what the person is saying. So the person will be talking from their own experience, from their own point of view, and allow them to have that. Similarly, let their emotions and their thoughts be their own. Now, this is particularly important if their thoughts or feelings might differ to yours. And this can be tough for us humans, because often we want those who are closest to us to be in agreement with us in all things sometimes. But the hard truth is that person isn't us. They have their own world of experience. And it's so important that we allow them to have that. Because remember, just because they have their own experiences and the way of seeing life, it doesn't have to mean that their relationship with you changes or that their feelings about you change. In fact, the more that we can allow people to be themselves, the stronger our relationships will be. So this is a tough one, but it is absolutely vital to strong relationships. Accept what that person is telling you. Number 3, reassure them that you're there for them. So you can let them know that you support them and the choices that they want to make. You can ask if there's anything that you can do. And if there's something that they want to do that you have concerns about, by all means share it with them, but remember that their choices are their own. So those are the 3 things, and if you follow all of those, what you're actually doing is helping that person's natural ability that they have to be with their situation and find their own resolution to really kick in. If they're stuck, your listening might help them to get unstuck. They might even have a burst of insight that comes from them and not you. And it's also a good way of showing that we have confidence in the people we love by not kind of rushing in there to fix it or not trying to change the subject, but just by sitting and listening, you're reinforcing the idea that, yeah, you can get through this. I'm here. What else do you need? So after you've done all of that, I just want to say something about what you might be needing. Because sometimes it can be tough to hear people's stories. I mean, I know that. I'm a counsellor. And what I'd say for that is think about what you might be needing. So maybe it's that you need to go and get some support yourself. So that might be talking to a friend or to your partner, and without breaking any confidentiality, saying something like, you know, it's quite tough at the moment. I'm helping my friend through this, or I'm helping my partner through that. And I've been listening to what they're saying, and I find it quite upsetting to hear that. And that's absolutely okay, because you're not revealing any details about the person. You're just seeking that support for yourself, really. It might be that you need to give yourself permission to let go of worrying about that person. And going back to what we said about trusting that people do have that natural ability to work through things, even if they're really difficult. Or if it's something that feels bigger than that, it might be that you might need to get some support yourself. So if something's happened to someone really close to you, you know, there is something that can happen called vicarious trauma, where someone we know and love, something really traumatic happens to them. And that can then set off our trauma responses because we love and care for that person. So if you feel that that's happening for you, then do seek out some professional support. And it's totally fine for you to do that. You know, if we're going to be able to support others in the best way, we also need to be supported ourselves. So that is absolutely key here for this. So that's it for today's blog. Thank you for watching. If you want to give me some feedback, you can contact me through my website on www.kirstymcgovern.co.uk. Forgot the name of the website there. Or you can, if you need to contact me, by anything that's come up on this program, please do if anything's concerning you. And you can also sign up to my newsletter list and get updates from my blog and other information that I put out there. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.